Welcome back to the Castos YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to talk about a few points of interest for SEO and why the Castos WordPress plugin, Seriously Simple Podcasting plugin, can really help you achieve some SEO greatness. Some of it has to do with running on WordPress itself, and others is a great way of how we've built the plugin, of course, and how we tie it into WordPress so that you can enhance your search engine ranking possibilities. So right here, starting with example number 1, on the podcast settings page of the Seriously Simple Podcasting plugin, you can see here we have the view feed link. We're going to click that. We're actually going to open it up in a new tab. And first and foremost, one of the most fundamental things for a successful podcast is having a nice, clean, fast, efficient, and well-crafted podcast RSS feed. This feed is so important because this is the link that you put out into the world, into the podcasting world, into Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, and the 50 plus major podcast distribution points around the web. And one of the reasons why some folks like to use Seriously Simple Podcast on their WordPress website is because that feed link is driven back to your website. That link, that podcast RSS feed, has your podcast website's URL in it. Versus, well, maybe hosting it at Castos, the prefix of the RSS feed will be at Castos. Whereas if you're running it from your WordPress site, yeah, sure, there's a chance that people can see your URL in that feed and make that sort of brand recognition, right? So that's just like one tiny component of it, but the fact that the RSS feed is super fast and also well-formed to what the industry standards want, you know that your podcast feed, even if it's coming out of WordPress, is the right structure. And you have all of the points that you would configure here, the primary category, the secondary category, the description, all of this stuff, cover image, all this stuff, the details that go into your feed that you submit to, again, those major distribution points, okay? So that's number 1, fast, effective, well-created podcast RSS feed. Next up is because we are doing things in WordPress, primarily anybody who is, doing content marketing or they have a blog and they attach podcast episodes to it, you're doing it all inside of WordPress. So WordPress is a great content management system for creating blogs and creating that content that wraps around your podcast episodes. And there's an efficiency factor there. So if you were to expand like your podcast details, you'd upload all of your files here, you'd upload all of the information, and you're just doing it all in one spot. So if you have a marketing team or you just have a content writer that works with you, doing it in WordPress makes it really easy. But second to that is a lot of the SEO benefits that you get with WordPress and some of the plugins around it. So for example, you can see right below this podcast episode. So if we just preview this, pull that up in a new tab so you can see it. There's a thin amount of content here. It's just a sentence that summarizes this random podcast that I do. But you have the podcast player. You can download, listen to it, etc. If we go back into here, I could fill out more content around this stuff. So if I were really trying to get found for a particular topic, maybe if it was like technology reviews 2021, something like that, even though this is not it. But if I was going after a particular set of keywords, I could be writing more about my show, about this episode, right in this blog post. Again, the keywords, the content, really helping that organic search. But WordPress has a bunch of SEO plugins that really make optimizing SEO pretty easy. So you can see right here, the title I just typed in, Technology Reviews 2021, the meta description, it's showing me what it looks like in the mobile preview. There's a lot of things that these SEO plugins can do to help you shape that content. It's not going to just make you rank first place for a keyword, right? But if I wanted to say, let's see, I was saying technology reviews. If I typed in technology reviews as my target keyword, it's going to refresh that and analyze it, and it's going to say, hey, look, you should do some things like add more keywords. You should add your social media tags. You should do some alternate text that has those keywords in it. Otherwise, these 4 at the bottom give me all green lights, and it says, hey, you're pretty good with those. We're not going to go into a full-blown SEO lesson here, but you can see that using WordPress, using their SEO plugins, again, this one's SEO Press. There's other popular ones like Yoast plugin that make your life a little bit easier on the front of SEO and your podcast. Another really cool thing, which I like as we wrap up that major benefit of podcasting with WordPress, is if I went to create a blog post, let's say, let's edit this one. And let's say I was running those podcasts on the podcast custom post type as it's known in WordPress. With Castos, with the Seriously Simple Podcasting plugin, I can pull in a podcast episode from my list and just drop it right into any blog post. So that technology reviews, I could just drop that right into another blog post. So I can cross-reference. It's almost like I can repurpose these podcast episodes on other pieces of content throughout the site. So what you're doing is you're allowing your podcast episode to get more exposure that way. So it doesn't just have to live on that one blog post or that one podcast post. You can create other content and break that down into other areas of your website. It's fantastic using the Seriously Simple Podcasting plugin. Okay. That's all I have for you in today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Castos. Thumbs up if you like the video. Leave us a comment, and we'll see you in the next video.